The kin. Try not to think about it. This is my first time posting to r/no sleep, and I'm not sure if I'll even get read. Everything I'm writing is 100% true, but I'm not sure whether you'd call it a story. It's more of an explanation, an apology, a confession, and a desertion, all jumbled together. I guess I'll start with the apology part. I'm sorry for the complicated writing style and bad grammar. I'm a software developer, not a writer. I'm sorry for the length and pacing, but I really don't know how else to tell my story. I'm also sorry for the other thing, but I really had no choice. I hope you'll understand. I'd be the first to admit, I'm a logical and methodical thinker. It's not that I love logic or arguments or endless potential scenarios. I simply have to think things through and understand them before I can do them. It's practically a compulsion. When I first learned how to fish, I couldn't cast a line. My dad told me you have to feel it, but feeling it did nothing for my tight wrist. It wasn't until I looked up release angles and trajectories and I finally understood the process. My next cast was perfect. I had the same experience learning to drive stick and later learning to ride a motorcycle. With the bike, feeling it actually put me in the hospital for a few days. While they stitched me up and wrapped my cracked ribs, however, the moment I understood how a clutch works or how speed and angle affected normal force of the road, these skills became trivial. By the time I was 17, I had become practically second nature for me to research everything, looking for that minimal understanding that made a subject logical to me. That's when I met Megan, and things started to fall apart. Megan was a Wiccan, in that curious form of that religion that many high school potheads adopt. Essentially, she got stoned a lot and talked about the cool occult stuff that would piss off her Catholic parents. I'm sure it seemed rebellious and deep at the time, but looking back, it was just another phase for her. But she wore short skirts and I was a high school boy. So I was suddenly very interested in ghosts, demons, and unexplained phenomenon. I tried to become conversant about the kin, as she called them. I read everything I could find about hauntings and possessions and all sorts of creatures of the night. I researched ghosts, goblins, ghouls, ink children, doppelgangers, succubi, will-o-wisps, the fae, golem, oni, wendigo, werewolves, vampires, hags, kappa, and every other creature imaginable. Believing in the supernatural creatures was the easy part. I simply had to research some crime statistics, unsolved missing persons cases to be precise. It's amazing how few people have made the correlation. The percent of people declared missing yearly almost exactly matches the percent of the herd animals consumed by major predators of the savannah. If you had been to your 5th high school reunion, chances are 4 people in your class are gone. Not dead from suicide, accident, murder, or medical condition, not living in another country, just gone. No one knows where they went. If you follow the data, one thing is clear, we are not at the top of our food chain. I read literally thousands of accounts of hauntings, visitations, and attacks, and it was still no closer to getting into Megan's good graces, or her skin-tight jeans. In my youthful eagerness, I knew the issue. I had read all the lore, but it still doesn't make any sense to me. In practically every story, visitations happen after dark in a place of age or power. Wild forest at night, old Victorian house, abandoned bridge, etc. They all follow the same general form too. An individual, alone, or in a small group. The creatures act with a foreshadowing of his appearance. It shows a great power. Defies the laws of physics. It acts in a way that suggests foreknowledge of events, anticipating movements or disappearing just before confrontation. These are arbitrary ritual items that can defend the eventual. Stakes, garlic, silver charms. The individual escapes through luck or cunning, but not bare strength, etc. I decided to attempt to decipher the logic underlying the story to truly understand the occult. In the process, I quickly identified 3 key points. Occult creatures disobey the law of physics. Occult creatures act intelligently. Occult creatures show foreknowledge of our actions and thoughts. The first point made it simple to define what they are not. They cannot physical beings made of flesh and blood, however they are intelligent. So they must have some form of existence. The third point was my real clue to figuring out the secret of their essence. Foreknowledge, access to thoughts. These creatures have access to our brains because they use them to manifest. They can use this as a way to interact with the world, or perhaps they simply manipulate our minds into seeing them, but perhaps we actually come through using the power of our own thoughts to interact physically. So why are all the other rules, charms, words, and signs? Because the creatures aren't powerful enough to fully reach a closed mind? They work their way through from whoever they exist, wherever our grasp of mundane reality is weak. We know that the dark holds monsters. So it does. This explains why ritual items hold such power. If we believe that the creature cannot survive, it can't continue to use us as a conduit. However, in a situation where we believe they might exist, the human mind isn't strong enough to shut the door. A ritual item wants to draw strength mentally from the understanding of power of that item. Believe that a crucifix casts a vampire, or so when used, we no longer believe that a vampire can be there. And it goes. I finally believe I understood these creatures. I was excited to tell Megan how they worked, to finally be in her good graces and maybe soon her pants. And she laughed in my face. The girl of my dreams told me I was thinking too hard, even for a nerd. The creatures of the night, she told me, have existed in harmony with the earth for so long before us. Or some such BS I wasn't listening to anymore. I haven't even interested anymore. I was just devastated. I re-evaluated my research, considering that perhaps I had made an error and missed something obvious, but my conclusions were pretty solid. All these creatures form humanity's collection of nightmares, exist on the other side of some thin veil, just waiting for a crack to open our minds and let them through. Distraught, I found myself fixating on this utter ridiculousness of the situation. The only reason that demons, ghosts, and ghouls are confined to darkness and solitude is that, at some level, even the most devout occultist doesn't believe the simple truth that I had found. Hell is real. All it takes to open the gate wide is belief. The moment I thought these words that finally hit me, I finally understood the kin. I knew the danger they represented, and there was the moment that my eyes caught the first shadow. It was a tiny thing, a pixie or brownie, not like the stories, but misshapen and somehow off. I only saw the shadow for a moment, but that was enough to prove everything to me. I was no longer safe in my ignorance. I'm sorry, I really am. If I could have taken my knowledge to the grave with me, I'd been the only victim of my foolishness, but yes, they wouldn't want that. They're here now, of course. The kin don't ever leave me. Even in full daylight, crowds or even churches, they tell me that I can live as long as I keep spreading the word. For you see, our defense all these years has only been our foolishness. Yet unwavering belief that we were safe in our cities, our lights, our rituals. We were protected by our own ignorance. But the secret's now out.